I remember I had this one experience where I was standing in the balcony of our church and I'm looking down on the congregation, and this thought comes to my mind, and the thought is, how is it possible that so many people can spend their whole lives in church and still be stuck? It's not a bad idea to get people serving and ministering in the church. The problem with traditional discipleship is that it leaves a great big hole in the middle here because very little of it touches the heart. One of the reasons I was struggling in my walk with God so much was that my view of God had been shaped by the legalistic Christianity in which I'd been raised. It's about creating an environment where we can help people safely take the lid off and begin to explore what's going on down there. So this is session 1 of course 1. The name of the course is Foundations of a Deeper Walk. The name of the session is Heart-Focused Discipleship. And I will let you know that I kind of grew up around in a different sort of environment. My father was a missionary in Africa, my mother and older siblings. I was born in Fort Wayne, Indiana after they got back from their time in Africa. Yeah, they have a lot of, classic missionary stories, like the time my brother woke up in his crib to find a black mamba curled up in the mosquito netting above his face. Classic missionary stories. But after they came home, my dad was invited to teach missions at Fort Wayne Bible College. And there he decided, if I'm going to be preparing people for the mission field, I probably need to inform them about spiritual warfare. And he began an intense study of that topic. Well, word got out of what he was studying, and a counselor in the area called him up and said, "Hey, I've got a client that I'm not getting anywhere with. And this person has significant compulsions that I haven't been able to help them with. Would you be willing to meet with them?" And for the first time, my mom and my dad got together with this lady, and they spent several nights with her. And at one point, they were pressing in and what they thought was the core issue, and a voice came out of this lady and said, "I'm strong, you can't touch me." And they figured that's probably not the Holy Spirit. So they went on and they were able to see her get free from that spirit. She went back to her counselor, and the lady said, her compulsion is gone. They met a few more times and it never came back. My father's known this lady for many years, and that compulsion has never returned. That was the beginning of a chain and of a shift in ministry for my parents. And I grew up around around that sort of a ministry. And so one of the things for me that I've realized is that the spirit world has always been very real to me. Whereas a lot of Westerners, the spirit world isn't that familiar. It isn't that alive to them, whether we're talking about demons or whether we're talking about the Holy Spirit. Now, growing up in a ministry family, when I got into my teenage years, I basically was in church since I was in diapers. But I remember I had this one experience where I was standing in the balcony of our church and I'm looking down on the congregation, and this thought comes to my mind, and the thought is, how is it possible that so many people can spend their whole lives in church and still be stuck? And I said, what's wrong? I remember as a teenager in high school already, I had this passion begin building up in me and said, "God, if you will let me, someday I would like to do something to help people who've grown up in church, but somehow missed the abundant life that you were talking about, to find that." And that's kind of what Deeper Walk Ministries, Deeper Walk International is all about. It is intended to try to help people identify and overcome the obstacles that keep them from a deeper walk with God.